It's Rut and River.
Yes.
Correct.
R-U-T.
I rest my beard hair on it.
And then you know you're there.
Like a nice, gentle little pillow for my beard.
Right.
And then I'm all up in it.
Oh.
I'm like Kobe beef for sharks.
Can I ask you, what made you guys call me up about, well, this?
That's what tickles our fancy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thought the Rocky Mountains would be rockier.
John Denver. It's not accurate.
Man.
A guy like you, who has absolutely no clue, and I can hear it in your voice, that, I mean, you're a blank canvas. I mean, I can just start with you like from scratch.
You're going to tell me, a grown man, you're telling me what lure to use and how to fish?
You guys didn't snap your whopper plopper off. Either of them. Sorry, I blew up over that. And we are back, and this is Rutton River Pursuits podcast, and we're smack dab in the Sonic Campfire tonight.
Boom, there it goes.
Mm-hmm. This is reality outdoor radio, connecting you with people, skills, and products you can trust.
You can trust them.
Mm-hmm. Who do I have with me around the table tonight?
Hey, I'm Ryan.
I'm Kyle. I'm Steve.
And I'm Will.
Hey, Bucky.
Yeah.
I need you to do me a favor, bud. I need
What's
you to
that,
tell
bud?
me who's our sponsor for this month's episodes.
I'll tell you about this month's sponsor. At Element Outdoors, good camo doesn't have to be expensive, and affordable outdoor gear doesn't have to be poorly made.
Oh, yeah.
Element Outdoors is technical clothing built by and for the working man. Find your addiction. These guys are running an exclusive special for the entire month of May.
Get out.
Where you can receive 20% off your order. What? When you enter RRP20. Yep, that's RRP20.
RRP20?
RRP20
Love
is
it.
exactly it when you check out. Just go to elementoutdoors.com today.
Guys,
You know how I just was telling you about Element Outdoors?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All the awesome stuff they have.
Bucky, what did you do?
What'd you do?
What did you do?
Don't say it.
I'm going to say we have Ted Fowler, owner,
Really?
straight from Corpus Christi, Texas, with us on the phone tonight.
No,
Is
we
that
didn't.
right?
Mm-hmm. Prove it.
Deep in the heart of Texas?
Ted, are you there?
Yeah, but I'm not in Corpus Christi. I'm in Rockport.
Did I
No,
fool
I appreciate the opportunity to be on you guys' show. Thanks for the call.
Sorry, I didn't hit you with the hand grenade there. And did you say
Not a problem.
Did you say Rockport?
Yes, sir. Yeah. This little podunk town here, about 12,000 people. We had Hurricane Harvey visit us a couple of years ago, so yeah, that's where I'm at.
We have a friend of the podcast that's also from down there. She's a captain, a
Casey
guide.
Bones.
Captain Casey Bones, yeah.
So we've actually just talked to half of the population of Rockport.
I was going to say, yeah.
So there's no such thing as a coincidence in my book.
I don't
Welcome
think so.
aboard. I have a feeling you are family. Kindred spirit, if you will.
Yeah, and Ted, you did mention the hurricane there. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I was checking out your Instagram account, and recently you put up some pictures of some work you're doing on your house. So you guys got hit pretty good with that hurricane, didn't you?
Yeah, actually, my house fared very well during the hurricane. I mean, I was dug in like a tick here. You know, a very poor decision on my part to stay and weather out the hurricane. You know, I mean, when I heard reports of it on the Weather Channel, they were talking about a Category 3 storm, and
Yeah.
I had customers calling me like crazy. That a lot of folks have houses here, but they don't live here. You know, these are their fishing cabins or their summer homes. So they were calling me, asking me, you know, hey man, can you board up the house? Can you board up the house? Well, I didn't think the storm was going to be that bad. You know, I mean, as a kid, who didn't drive down, or when your parents are driving down the road, you stick your head out the window doing, 60, 70 miles an hour. You know, how bad could a hurricane be?
No big deal.
Well, yeah, that was a very poor decision on my part to stay. I'll tell you that.
Really?
Yeah. No, but I dug in and luckily my house, I had a tree fall and hit the front of the house. And then when the eye passed over, it pulled it off and threw it out into the street. I lost a couple of shingles. Yeah. Now I've been steady rebuilding other people's houses for the last couple of years. And the Instagram pictures I'm posting of most recent is a house that it took about 4 feet of water inside of it from a tidal surge.
Wow.
You know, so it
Holy
was because
smokes.
well, this is a big flat here. You know, I mean, you've got to go out. I don't know, you boys don't do much offshore fishing, but we do. But you got to go out, 30, 40 miles to get to 200 feet deep water, where the pelagic species want to hang.
Yeah.
So it's just a big flat shelf. Well, when the hurricane came, that water just started coming up, and I'm at one of the highest elevations in Rockport at 17 feet. That'll tell you something. 17 feet above sea level. Yeah. So
you're right at the peak. Okay.
Yeah. I looked down on the town from my castle here that I built for myself. Yeah. No, but they basically had a big flood of water come in from midnight till 4 a.m. and then it receded. So when the sun, when it got light enough to see, there was no water, no standing water to be found, but people would walk out to their vehicles, those who stayed, and they've got seagrass in the cab of their truck because, they took 2, 3, 4 feet of water.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
So was the storm surge worse than the wind damage then?
No. I mean, there was, the number varies how many, tornadoes touched down. And I mean, I can tell you, hand to God, I drove all over the town looking, and there would be 4 houses in a row, and one of them would be completely demolished, and the other 3 would have minimal damage. And that's, you could kind of trace the path of a twister, going 50 yards to a neighborhood. It'd take out 3 houses, and then it would, pick up and leave. Like Ron White said, it's not that the wind was blowing, it's what the wind was blowing.
Yeah.
Because there's all that debris has to go somewhere. Yeah, and it's usually in somebody else's living room or through their roof.
Yeah, it's crazy when you see some of like the aerial footage of where a tornado would go through, how surgical those strikes are on those things. It's crazy.
I was born and raised in Arizona. I lived in Mesa and Scottsdale, Arizona for a majority of my life. I moved out here to Texas about 16 years ago. So I really was not subject to that kind of intense weather. I mean, we would have monsoon storms, and, it got 118 degrees in the summer, which is a little balmy, but
I'd say
you didn't. Yeah. You
It's
didn't
a
have
dry
anything-
heat, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I first moved out here, to Rockport, and it was, they said, hey, it's hurricane season. Well, when a storm would start brewing in the Gulf, not knowing any better, all the locals here, they'd have hurricane parties. So we'd all get together and, everybody have a barbecue and a big beer bust and do all of that like it was fun and games. And I can remember saying to myself, I would like to experience one just to say that I've done it. Well, now that I did it, I really don't want to experience anymore.
You're good.
'Cause, yeah, been there, done that. Scratch that off my bucket list.
Ted, with that much flat land, how does that change? Like from a hunting standpoint, up here, that's very different than Pennsylvania. How does that change your approach?
Well, what you have to remember about the state of Texas is a majority, and a big majority of it is privately owned. So with that being said, it is flat, but we have, mesquite thickets and we've got oak trees.
Okay.
So our cover is a little bit different. And then we have the luxury of being able to high fence our property. So what's mine is mine, and you guys stay away from it. The state, depending on how much money you give them, and I say that because let's say you've got 1,000 acres, and if you want to grow your own deer herd and kind of do your own thing, you apply for a permit through the state. It's an MLD, managed land deer permit, and depending on the dollar amount of improvements that you make to your property throughout the year, the state kind of looks at it as your own little private forest, and you can do whatever you want within reason.
Sure.
And they tell you, depending on what level of MLD you are, how many deer you can take off of that property during the given hunting period, which
That's
is usually 30 days before the general public and 30 days after.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, if you're a regular guy, if you guys were to come here, with a gun and a checkbook, and you said, "Hey, we want to shoot a deer," you want to shoot a big management 8. All right, let's go over here. Feeders go off at 5:15. Let's get there, about 4:45, and about 5:25, this thing will be done. We'll be driving back to the house.
I'll tell you what. You go ahead and just buy a non-resident PA tag, and you don't even have to make it a 5-day hunt. You can hunt the whole season with me, bud. And we'll be hunting. I promise you.
You want a challenge?
Yeah.
So what do you like to hunt down there?
Why doesn't John Denver have a song about Texas? That sounds like heaven.
Yeah, I don't know. He was more in love with his plane, rather than hunting down in Texas. You see how that worked out for him.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my favorite animal to hunt is elk. Coming from Arizona, I love to bow hunt.
Nice.
That's the majority of what I prefer to do now. Of course, when you're managing a ranch, I did not have the luxury of bow hunting that much because our thing was, it was management. It was numbers control. It was for a purpose, not for, the thrill of the hunt.
I don't think we really said your background. You obviously manage some land.
Yeah. I think we kind of glossed over that. I apologize for not doing a better lead in. Yeah, I've known Steve Austin for 15 years, and when he bought the Broken
Stone
Skull Ranch,
Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, Stone Cold.
Yeah, that's.
Or
you guys are the only one that call him Stone Cold. I just call him Steve.
Or I didn't know if we were talking about the $6 million man.
That's what I thought at first.
No, different cat. Now, if he was married to Farrah Fawcett, I would have taken that job too. This is the pro wrestler, Steve Austin.
I love me some Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah. No, but he at one time had 2,200 acres in Tilden, Texas, a little place called Broken Skull Ranch, not to be confused with, the Broken Skull Challenge where he had his TV show. That was filmed in California, but we were hunting in Texas. Yeah, but I pretty much managed it for him since obviously he's in LA doing his deal. And, at the time, God, I was hunting. I was thinking about this earlier. I was probably sitting in a blind 100 days a year.
Wow.
Yeah, with predator control and just herd management, because in Texas the archery deer season starts middle to the end of September. We could start shooting deer September 1st, which was dove season, because we were MLD level 3, which is the highest one. And then when our regular general deer season ended January 15th, and then they had a week-long doe and spike season, we could shoot deer until the end of February. So look at the calendar. Yeah,
that's a long time.
That's crazy.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, when you're sitting in a blind every day, it's like, boy, I'm, You're tired of shooting deer. You're tired of cleaning deer. You're tired of eating deer. If a cow would have walked by, you'd have had a real bad day.
Yeah, but I can understand. I mean, with the acreage that you're talking about, the herd health down in that area of the state, the terrain and everything, it becomes a numbers game, like you said. So there's a lot of work to put in to manage a property like that.
Is this
whitetail? Absolutely. Yes, sir.
We're talking whitetail? Okay.
We're talking South Texas whitetail, yes, sir. And all natural genetics. We didn't bring anything in. We didn't do any crossbreeding, any artificial genetic manipulation. You know what I mean? We'd go up in a helicopter before the season started, and we would take an aerial survey. Because we had a game biologist, the pilot, Steve and I. We'd go up in an R-44 helicopter and basically run a grid all through the entire ranch, top to bottom, side to side, and we would record. There's a management buck, there's a trophy buck, there's a spike, there's a doe with 2 fawns, there's a doe with a fawn, and figure out what our population was, figure out how many deer per acre, we wanted to carry, make that formulation, and our deer biologist would then say, it's my recommendation you guys take 20 bucks, 50 does. Here's 70 tags. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, And that you hit exactly on a point I wanted to ask, which is you got those numbers, you did the studies as best you could do, but you still ran it all by a biologist to make sure you took into consideration his recommendations, so you try to do the right thing for the herd.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and I mean, they took into account that we fed protein. I say we. You know, I did the work. Steve paid the bills. So that's where this marriage came about. Yeah, yeah.
The royal we.
So if I refer to the ranch as mine or ours or something, you get where I'm at. I mean, I was involved in that thing 100%. But we fed protein year round and had 11 2,000-pound protein feeders that I would go down every 2 or 3 weeks and top off, so the deer never ran out of protein. Now, there was 5 miles of underground water line that was buried throughout the ranch that fed a number of concrete cisterns that were next to the protein. So the deer, all they had to do was walk out of the brush, eat a little protein, go over and take a sip of water.
That's some high quality H2O.
Yeah, exactly. And we kept that going. We kept that going year round until it came to hunting season, and then I would order, 20 tons of corn, and I'd set out all the corn feeders and get set up for starting to throw corn on the ground because it's legal to bait here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cut all the shooting lanes, set up the feeders, fill them up, and then make sure everything worked. And then it was business as usual. Deer season started.
Now, were you loading these feeders by hand, or did you drive around with a truck with a hopper and use an auger or something to get that feeder?
No. I had one of Steve's Broncos, because he's a big Bronco fan. The vehicle, not the football team.
Right on.
But yeah, I had that with a 2-ton hopper with an auger. So I would go back and forth, pulling that thing around, filling all the protein stuff.
Man, I was going to say, without that, that's all you could do on that ranch.
Oh yeah. Then on top of the fact you got to mow 2,000 acres.
Thanks, bud.
I didn't mow 2,000 acres. I mean, I like to keep the front area and the entrance area looking like a park.
Yeah.
But of course, you've got to mow all the senderos. You got to mow around the fence line. You've got to mow all the shooting lanes, stuff like that.
My.
So yeah, it was a fun job. I mean, I got paid for it. Don't think that this was a labor of love. I don't love anything that much, but I was drawing a paycheck for it. Which isn't a bad gig. If you can hunt 100 days a year, work out and party with Steve, and during the off season, I was the only one, and I had my own house there. Oh. So it wasn't like I was set up in a fifth wheel. I had a nice, set of digs that was just mine. I had my bird dogs that I'd take down and, quail hunt and dove hunt and got to turkey hunt because it was always too hot for anybody, any of the relatives to come down because it was a family operation. He didn't open it up commercially. It was I was the only non-family member, really, except for, Shawn Michaels and, Ric Flair came down one time.
You gotta be kidding me.
Woo! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Those guys came down and Sean came down.
You probably never heard that before.
Filming for a hunt. But I was really the only non-family member that ever got to hunt the place.
I didn't know Ric Flair was a hunter.
He came down to do a podcast, actually, which is, and I mean, being a big wrestling fan myself.
Yeah.
This guy steps out of a limo down in South Texas.
Oh, geez.
Black patent leather shoes, no socks, a pair of dress slacks and a suit coat and his glasses. He steps out of the limo and he looks around and he goes, "Man, where are we? Afghanistan?" Yeah, it was a little over the top.
Black patent leather snake boots.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's if somebody comes there to hunt, they're gonna kill a deer or basically as many deer as they want.
Opportunity
not have a chance to kill a deer. Did that come out?
No. you may not get the deer that you know that you dream about every night, but yeah, you'll definitely have the opportunity. You know, and the other thing is we have exotics down here. You know, you'd asked about or one of you guys had asked about
the axis. Yeah.
You know, a buddy of mine, Tell, he's more redneck than I am. He's a fishing guide and a hunting guide.
Yeah.
Sent up a post saying, you know, hey, we got some axis that we need to, you know, thin the herd. I reached out to him and said, you know, hey, Chris Nalick, my partner there in Element, he and I and a couple of the guys from the marketing company, you know, we want to go down and book, you know, 3 days and want it just to be us so we can film and do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You know, and Tell was like, you know, well, dude, I know you bow hunt, but, you know, what are the other guys doing? And I'm like, you know, well, they're rifle hunting. And he's like, oh, okay, well, then, you know, it'll be a done deal. You know, I mean, it's that level of confidence because there's that many animals that you're guaranteed to have an opportunity. Now, pulling off the shot is on you.
Yeah.
But yes, you will definitely have an opportunity. That's where what we do is 180 degrees different than what you guys do, because I can just imagine sitting out in the east there. We named our deer. That's how often we saw them, and that's how we could pattern them. You know, I can just envision you guys sitting in a tree stand going, you know, man, the wind, you know, it blew from the southeast rather than the northwest, and I was sitting in the wrong spot. The biggest problem we got down here in South Texas is if the battery died and your feeder didn't go off. It doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. Sure. You know, as long as that feeder goes off and that dinner bell rings, you know, as long as you're not playing racquetball in that blind, because we're sitting in those, you know, metal deer blinds, the deer are coming in.
Oh, I'm out then.
You know,
I love racquetball.
It may not be like clockwork, because I would be hunting specific deer that I wanted to cull, and, you know, driving around doing stuff. I'm carrying a gun with me, so if I ever did see him, you know, as bad on him. But then morning and evening, I would sit a particular blind, knowing that's where he's at.
Yeah,
and it's, you know, dude, deer. You know, for you know, a week in a row, he's out. He's the first one there before the feeder goes off. As soon as you go to shoot him, it's like, you know, I mean, you can't blame them. You know, they get ESP, and it's like, I think I'm going to try over here.
Yeah.
Ted, I have to ask, with all the time that you spend outside in South Texas, how many close calls have you had with rattlesnakes?
Oh, good question.
Oh man, I've got. I got some stories. I've never had
and a pair of boots and a suit.
Yeah,
and a new pair of underwear.
I've never had one actually hit me. I inadvertently stepped on a couple.
Oh, geez.
And I've had a couple strike at me. You know, and my biggest downfall, I'm a big music fan, so I would drive around the ranch. And I'm the only one out there. You know, it's just me and my dogs. Oh, so I'd leave the dogs up at the compound, and we had, you know, big fenced-in yard, let them run and do their stuff. I'd go out and do my work, and I would always, you know, have my iPhone playing, and I had my headphones on. Well, you know, I just, through habit, you don't pay attention, I'd get out and go to fill the feeder, and I'm listening to the music, and it's like, where's that static coming from? You know, I'm listening to it on my phone.
Oh boy.
Yet I hear static. So I'd hit the pause button, and you hear and it is an unmistakable sound. You know, it's like, well, I'm standing 3 feet from a rattlesnake, and I mean, he doesn't necessarily want to bite me. You know,
but
he just wants to let me know. Yeah, he would if you jacked with him. You know, and you know, I put the music on pause and hear that thing, and it's like, boy, that, you know, that'll make you take a step back.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, I did that more than once, you know, where I'd be walking to the blind and it'd be listening to my music or, you know, doing whatever, not paying attention, because I already know I'm going to go here and I'm going to shoot this ratchet head. So it's just kind of, you know, matter of fact, I'm going to get this done. I want to shoot him. I want to get back to the house. I've got, you know, this deer to clean, whatever deer Steve's relatives shoot. I want to mix a cocktail, and then we're going to watch, you know, the UFC or something like that. So I've already got it played out in my head. Well, I'm just tooling along, you know, and it breaks out on the right hand side of you, and I put the music on pause, and I mean we're talking 5-6 foot rattlesnake, curled up in there, and it's like but I never had one hit me, thank God. Never had one hit my dogs either.
See, now, Ted, no offense, but I think it would be the first time I heard the static while the music was playing. That might have been enough for me to go, you know what? I'm going to keep the music at the house.
Yeah.
You know what? The problem was, I mean, you're invincible down there because, I've got snake boots. I've got a little, sawed off 410 snake charmer, so I've got, when I'm driving around during
he
the
has a recorder in his pocket.
Yeah. I've got my 243 with me. If I see a coyote or, a pig or javelina or something like that, so I mean, I'm living the dream. I'm driving around shooting stuff,
That's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? Yeah.
5 foot rattlesnake would go. That'd be enough to go wrong
it's like
for me.
choosing to stay during a Category 4 hurricane. How bad could it be? Well, we found out. Yeah.
So Ted, speaking of the hurricane that you went through, a lot of people refer to the weather outside as dealing with the elements. I would like to take a moment to talk a little bit about the destruction that you guys are putting on the outdoor industry right now, like a hurricane coming through. Tell us about Element Outdoors.
I got to
transition.
I got to just pause and say, by Merlin's beard, that was smooth, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Ted, but that was one of the best transition pivots, piggybacks, if you will.
No, dude, I tip my hat to you. That was gold. That was audio gold.
It was like
Thanks.
a podcast crown jewel.
Well, I'm done here. All right. My job's
I was talking to my partner Chris Nalick maybe an hour ago, and I told him, I said, you know what, man, we're the best camo company that nobody's ever heard of, and he started laughing, and the lead into how Element Outdoors came around. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due. The founding member of Element Outdoors, real good friend of mine. His name's Chris Nalick. I mean, he's a solid guy. I'd help him bury a body. That's how close of friends we are. Through a twist of events, they were doing dipping, like car parts and graphics. Chris started fooling around with digital patterns and decided to throw his hat in the ring making camo apparel, without much of a background in hunting or apparel. It was just, a vision he had, and he wanted to do it. So he and his brother, struck out and started doing this. Well, then they had their first run of camo under a different name, and he actually reached out to me, Chris did, on Twitter. And he said, hey, you don't know me from Adam, and I don't expect us to go anywhere, but, we're a real new camo company, and I'd like to, get in touch with Steve Austin. Well, obviously, the reason why I'm Steve Austin's friend is because I don't say, well, yeah, here's his phone number, it's 310, blah, 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 blah. And I said, hey, because Steve had some rumblings that he wanted to get in the camo industry. Well, then they started talking back and forth. Months later, thought they had a deal, didn't have a deal, thought they had a deal. Business is business. They could not agree on terms to go into business together. But during that time, Chris and I, stayed in contact. And when the deal fell through, Chris reached out to me and he said, hey, man, I to show my appreciation to you, I want to make you a pro staffer. Well, I'm a redneck. I didn't understand what that meant other than they're going to send me free stuff. So I spoke to Steve, and Steve was like, dude, if they're sending you free stuff, take it. Do your thing. Chris started sending me some different apparel to wear. And then our friendship grew, and I was like, man, this is really good stuff. I really dig this. I don't like the way that this collar rubs on me. I would do something different, so we started a relationship in that aspect. Yeah. And then he made an offer to me to come on board with the company. And I felt so strongly about the product. It's the best camo I've ever worn, hands down. And not even including the price. I mean, just from a technical wearability standpoint, it's the best stuff I've ever worn. Down here in South Texas, if it doesn't cut you, poke you, tear you, you're not in the right part of South Texas. And it's durable as
that's just walking in Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So our friendship grew, and then he changed the name. I had an opportunity to buy his brother out because Ronnie's big on drilling oil wells. That's kind of his passion, not so much hunting. And I hunted more than anybody that either one of those guys knew.
Yeah, at that point, you're doing almost all of their research and development, right? Like you're out there putting that stuff through the paces.
Exactly, because Chris, love him to death. He's the technical guy. He's the one that can tell you how all of this stuff is put together, which is his niche. And then they send it to me, and I wear it. And my input is from the field where, I do something different here. I do something different there. Obviously, you guys aren't wearing snake boots, so I put zippers on the outside of these heavyweight pants because they're a pain in the butt, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's kind of the part that I bring to Element.
Yeah, they could tell you the thread count on this particular garment, but you can tell them what's working and what isn't. I like it.
Exactly. And then with the notoriety that I had, the small notoriety that I had, being with Steve Austin, that kind of gave me the platform on social media to brag about Element, kind of promote it from that standpoint. And then once we got our Generation 2 stuff, and it was a no-brainer. It's like, dude, this is what we got to do. We got to push this stuff. I mean, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, it's some of the best stuff that you will ever come across that does not financially cripple you, not in the slightest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about that through this month as we've been promoting you guys, and we've been checking out the website and talking about what we like best or what we saw that caught our eye. And it really is super technical gear at an amazing affordable price. So if people haven't checked it out, they need to do it now. If for no other reason, then you're just a pretty cool guy.
You know what? I appreciate that. And the angle that Chris and I try to work is we're regular guys. Austin referred to me as a working man. When he do his show is, hey, I'm talking to the working man. We want clothes that the working man can afford. I've said it a million times, and I'm not going to name any names, but you know what? You're never going to tell me that you hunt better in a $400 jacket than you do a $150 jacket. I'm not buying that. Now, with that being said, there are certain people out there that unless they're swinging the most expensive, latest, greatest, newest golf clubs, they're not going to golf. Or, they saw, right. Yeah, you know exactly where I'm going. There's some people that have to have the newest iPhone, that they have to have, they're on the waiting list for the 2022, Chevy Volt or whatever.
On our podcast, his name is Steve. He's got to have the latest and greatest, don't you, bud?
Yep. Money is no object to that, man.
The latest and greatest on the Facebook Marketplace.
That's not our demographic. That's not who we're going for. We're going for people. We're going for people that want to spend money saving up for their hunt, not saving up for, a $250, $300 pair of breeches. Down there in South Texas, I shot bigger whitetail than you guys did, sitting in a pair of Wrangler shorts and flip-flops. So
that's just mean.
That's only because I haven't tried it in Wrangler shorts and flip-flops.
Now you're showing off. Yeah.
But I mean, we're trying to just, make a good quality camo, give you something that when you buy, you look at it and you go, this is better than I thought.
Well, what makes camo good quality? Like, what should I be looking for?
It works. It fits right. the zippers work, the pockets are in the right space.
YKKs.
Stuff that, we're YKK zippers. Now, on our midweight jacket, our heavyweight jacket, they have a silicone-infused shoulder strip. If you hunt with a rifle and you got a sling, that thing's forever sliding down. Well, the theory is that silicone-infused strip will hold that up. Your backpack, it'll hold it up.
It grips it.
Stuff like that.
Boom.
Now, our lightweight pants that are coming out, this is, I'm telling you about Generation 3 stuff. Our Gen 2 stuff has a silicone strip, but our Gen 3 pants, because we're always trying to build a better product. Our Gen 3 pants, midweight and lightweight pants, have a pocket sewn into the knee where from the outside through the side, you could put in a knee pad. If you're crawling on something, if you ever antelope hunt out west, you do a lot of knee crawling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these pants have the ability to have these little neoprene knee pads that you can take in and out from the outside of your pants through the side. So when you're crawling, your pants don't fill up with dirt. You put them in when you need them. You take them out when you don't. That's the kind of innovation that Chris sits there and he thinks about, and then he'll spitball it by me. So that's where, we complement each other. But back to your question, what makes the camouflage good? One, the old lady's not squalling it because you spent a ton of money. Hey, where'd that $500 go out of the checking account? Well, I was going to take you out to dinner, but I bought this, heavyweight jacket.
I heard that.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. Yeah. And like I said, you can't tear it up. We have a satisfaction guaranteed policy. I've gone on record as saying, hey, if you buy something from us and you don't like it, it's not what you thought it was going to be, don't give me a story, send it back. And if Element doesn't cut you a check to pay you back, I will cut you a check to pay you back, because you're not going to return it because you don't like it.
Wow.
If a majority of our returns, if any, are because of sizing issues. Rarely do we ever have a default with the product, a zipper break, a seam come unsewn, something like that. Mm-hmm. And man, there's no argument as far as exchanging products. That's where, as a grassroots company, we want to reach out to just regular people and let you guys know customer service is Chris Nalick and Ted Fowler. And I've gone to the point where we've got messages on Facebook Messenger where, people are like, hey, here's a perfect example. Guy had a hunt coming up and he ordered some material from us, said there was a problem, left his phone number. Hell, I called the guy up.
Was that Sean Kennedy? He always does that.
Oh man.
No, this was a guy in Illinois.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And he had a problem. And I told Chris, I said, hey, I'm going to call this guy up, find out what's going on. And he's like, dude, I said, no, it'll be fun. It'll be a hoot. So I call him up and I said, hey, this is Ted Fowler with Element Outdoors. And there's a long pause. And he goes, Ted Fowler 361? And I go, yeah, but I usually don't address myself that way when I make a phone call. But that's I am
hashtag yes.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, I am one and the same. I said, what's the problem with your camo? And he goes, oh man, I can't believe this. Blah blah blah. I said, all right, what's the problem with the camo? He says, well, I ordered the wrong size, and I've got a hog hunt coming up. And I want to wear your guys' stuff. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, what are you looking for? What's your order number? And what's the size you want? Well, me checking inventory is calling Chris's wife going, hey, Angie, do we got, this and that? And she's like, yeah, we got it. I said, look at this order number. I said, send it out. The guy's going to send the other stuff back. Just get it, hot shot it out to him now so he can have it for his hunt. I called the guy back up and I said, look, man, you promised to return that stuff because it doesn't fit you? He goes, yeah. I said, all right, well, your new stuff is coming. Just send us the old stuff. Send us the stuff that didn't work back. Now, let me ask you a question. People at Amazon going to do that?
Heck no.
People at Cabela's going to do that? Now, it may have bit me in the butt, But by the same token, we're talking $200 worth of product. I'll put my neck out there on the line for the good karma that comes from that, because I'll tell you what, the guy was tickled to death. He got stuff that fit him. All of a sudden now we got a customer for life. And guess what?
Right.
He tells all of his friends. That's the way that Chris and I look at Element Outdoors. I mean, we're user friendly. We're warehousing out of Chris's garage, for God's sakes. I mean, there's not a whole lot of overhead. We don't have a tremendous amount of dough for marketing. We do what we can. We're trying to get our name out there. And like I said, man, we're the best camo that nobody's heard of, but they will. It's a slow process, but we'll make it. We'll be all right.
How do you do your sizing? Because, I mean, a lot of those 2Xs out there in some of the Western camo.
Are you asking if it's European cut?
Is it because they're not real 2Xs. I'm not going to lie. They're not real XLs. And
no, I mean, the garments are made in the European market, the U.S. market, or the Asian market. I mean, let's be honest. We, like a number of others, do the Asian market. Now, on the website, it's got a sizing guide that pretty much gives you, what the chest is on a jacket, what the inseams are on a pants, and as every size, when you go from medium to large, you add 2 inches on the inseam and an inch on the waist, stuff like that. It's standard to the industry that you purchase from.
Sure.
Now, we don't do anything in the European market, so I can't speak on that behalf.
I'm like a 5 or 6X in the European market.
You sure are.
I'm like American beefcake over there.
I was going to say, we may have to talk to you about bulk fabric and let you cut and sew your own stuff if you're that big.
No, that's just how the European sizes work.
I'm a
bulk fabric.
I'm an XL on a good day, and I'm a double X.
They're dainty fellows over there.
Absolutely. And at Element, I mean, that's another thing that's part of the reason why we haven't really dabbled into the girls' line of camo, because there's so many different shapes and sizes. The sizing issues, create a little more hassle than at this time we're ready to kick off on.
Right.
Now we stand behind. If you order something and it doesn't fit you, not a problem, man. We will gladly exchange for something. We'll work with you until you get the product that you're happy with.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're never going to shut the door and go, hey, dude, what you get is what you get. That's not what we're about. That is not at all what we're about.
Yep, perfect.
That's great.
That makes sense to me because, like I said, there's other jackets out there. There's other companies out there, and I can only wear a handful of them. You know what I mean? And I'm not the biggest dude out there either.
You're not. I was picking on you, but
yeah. I'm just saying. But portions of me are unique,
larger,
unique to Will.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I'm 6'5", 250. With a 38-inch waist down here in South Texas. Most 6'5" people have about a 58-inch waist.
Yeah, you got 6 or 7 inches on me.
Yeah, from all the biscuits and gravy. Yeah, from all the biscuits and gravy we go through down here. So I mean,
I love me some biscuits and gravy.
Well, I'll tell you what, white sausage gravy. Yes, sir.
That's what I'm talking about.
That was Bucky's nickname in college.
It was white sausage gravy. That was my blues name when I played blues guitar. White sausage gravy.
Wrote a song about it. Like to hear it. Here you go.
Man, would you like to hear it? There you go. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, but I mean, we realize that the sizing is an issue, and it's kind of up in the air. But once again, if it doesn't fit, we will gladly exchange it. And if you don't like it for whatever reason, send it back, and we'll send you the money. We'll send you your money back. If it ain't Chris, it's going to be me.
And that's a testament to what
I'll
you guys are doing.
I'll take Chris's money.
Yeah.
You've been cool.
Yeah, you've been cool.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I try to open myself up to everybody and just be a regular person because, I mean, honestly, other people on social media know me as Ted Fowler 361 and Steve Austin's, right-hand man there on the ranch. But, I try to reach out to people just, man, I'm just a regular old redneck. I mean, I drink, I hunt, I fish, I raise cane and, just try to have as much fun as I possibly can. And if you got a question, ask me. I try to respond to everybody.
That's awesome.
My email address at Element Outdoors, Ted Fowler 361 at Element Outdoors.
I have
a question? Fire away.
Yeah, I think Will has a question.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, you.
Do you have does Steve Austin have a beer opening policy on the ranch? Do you have to open it in a certain way?
No, not at all.
You crack it open and shake it up.
No. We had a little different drinking regiment than most people. I will say that, but nothing to that extent. I mean, what you have to realize.
I didn't know if you had to toss him beer and then he cracks it open. I like he did it, in the good old days. Two at a time.
No.
I love that.
I mean, that's the thing.
We grew up with, in that era of wrestling, and being 40 years old, and some of us that's was our heyday. And
absolutely. I mean, I was a huge fan of his, and I'm only a year younger than him, So yeah, I'm a mark for wrestling. And dude, every Monday night we got together, me and a bunch of my friends got together and sat down and ordered barbecue and sat there and watched Raw.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And what you saw on TV is 180 degrees, different. His TV persona is one thing, but he's just the coolest, funniest, wittiest guy. And he and I had the best back and forth because we got along and our banter was great. And like I said, we did some stupid things. Yeah.
Yeah. Ted,
that's awesome.
Ted,
yes, sir.
Speaking of ill-advised, I'm going to have to do something that's very ill-advised.
Don't you do it, Bucky.
When it comes to a guest such as yourself, Bud. But
come on, white sausage, cut him some
white
slack.
sausage gravy, young man.
Don't shortchange him.
Yeah, don't shortchange that.
Don't try and church it up either.
Yeah, but we're getting up, bumping up on some time here, Ted. But we can't let the episode end from what we call the Fast Five. Sometimes I will call it the Fab Five.
You sure will.
It's on your menu.
Everybody else on the team will call it the Fast Five. If you don't mind, we're going to hit you with the Fast Five. And
5 questions, real quick.
No answer is incorrect. We just like the spontaneity.
We'll tell you if it's wrong.
All right, I'm good.
All righty.
I'm good.
What's the one thing that you cannot live without in the outdoors?
Jack Daniels.
Nice.
Jack Daniels, if you please.
Jackpot.
That's a good answer. What's your favorite movie?
Tombstone.
Ooh.
Solid movie.
I like that one too.
We love that movie.
What's one thing that you do daily to help prepare for your outdoor lifestyle?
I shoot my bow.
Boom.
Perfect. I'm almost afraid to ask this. Ted, what makes you happy?
Jack Daniels.
That's a first.
Touchdown.
The same
Double
answer.
answer.
Yeah.
Double answer. That's a first. Excellent.
So, and then besides going to the Jack Daniels distillery, what's on your bucket list?
I would love to go to Africa with my bow. I would love to go to Australia because I heard that the girls down there dig Western guys.
They like the accents?
They like the accents. Just the rumor is they just like American accents. So as country as I am, they ought to be chasing me down the middle of Broadway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much on my bucket list. I'd like to catch Big old marlin down there.
We only asked for one thing. Sorry.
Well, there's one thing with two parts. It was kind of a round trip back to Texas.
Okay. I'm sorry. What were you trying to catch down there?
Big marlin.
One of those 1,000-pound marlins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
you got to come up here and do that.
Golden trout.
Yeah, we got 1,000-pounders up here.
I'll tell you what. I saw some pictures that you guys posted. Now, when I was living in Arizona, we would catch some rainbow trout. My father and I would go stream fishing, and it was a salmon egg or a worm and a fly rod and stuff like that. Very primitive because I was a kid, but we did a lot of stocked rainbow trout. And every once in a while, you would catch a quote unquote German brown trout. When I saw the picture of that golden trout, I thought you guys were doing some photoshopping or jacking around or something, because I almost sent a message to Sean, and I was like, dude, what is that?
He doesn't know what that is.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the real deal, though.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah, that was my son from a youth day that we did. That's just a stream just down the road from
Stevie
the
has
house.
one on there too.
Stevie's got one on there. He said recently.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but on that stringer, he had the golden rainbow, a regular rainbow. He had a brook trout. I think there was a brown and a tiger. Like he had the full.
Really?
I didn't even realize it until I looked through there.
Pennsylvania trout slam.
Trout slam. Yep. But yeah,
nice.
Golden rainbows are definitely a thing. A lot of people around here will mistakenly call them palomino.
Not mistaken.
They do it on purpose.
They do it on purpose.
Don't correct them either, bud.
I correct them all the time.
Now, are you guys big into fly fishing, or you use lures, or what do you do up there?
We're not old enough to fly fish yet.
Boy,
Deaky is.
You watch your mouth, because I just got into fly fishing. But I was the same way. Because my buddies who are all fishing guys down here, they were like, dude, we're going fly fishing, and I'm like, oh really? And then what are we going to do? Play pinochle afterwards? Like, Christ, how old do you think I am? But over time, I have grown to really, truly enjoy it.
Stevie,
no, it's good. Yeah.
Please tell me that we have the sponsor check already after that question. Please tell me.
Tell me it cleared.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we appreciate that. No, we're the same. We do appreciate. We have a lot of friends that do it. It's huge here. There's this.
Yep.
It's a destination for sure. If you're a fly fisherman, PA's got tons of trout water.
Yeah, some of the greatest trout streams in the East Coast are in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and so it is a destination, and we get it. We just don't get it right now.
Right. Yeah, you will.
Ted,
It's like eyeglasses. You may not need them now, but you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ted, I went to my first Pennsylvania trout opener this year, and Bud, I've compared it. It's like the first day of buck season here in Pennsylvania. That's the only other day that will get that many people out and about in the outdoors, and I think it's great.
It's a big thing.
Yeah. So
See, to me, that is such a foreign concept that you have a given season on when you can go to a creek and go fishing. It's like, what if you're hungry and you want to go 2 weeks early? You're going to break that is just such a foreign concept. As far as fishing goes,
Check
because I'll get a phone call from my buddies, and they're like, hey man, how are you doing on, ling, as far as how much you got in the freezer? It's like, well, I'm good there, but I'm down, some trout. All right, let's go catch some trout, or let's go catch a red or something like that. Yeah. And we just go.
Wow.
Yeah. So
part of that is part of the reason though behind that. Just real quick, if you go back to some of our episodes in April when we were doing the Trout of Control Month, those folks from Potski Baits actually will tell you all about the efforts that the Fish and Boat Commission puts in for stocking these trout and things like that. They have to close the season for a while. And the reason they close the season to stock the streams, to get the habitat, or to get the
fish acclimated,
get the populations where they need to be. And then basically it's just like, it's a resource that is renewable because all the hatcheries and all the efforts that's put into the stocking, but it's also a resource that's there for the taking.
There's so many people that do it. We would fish them out.
Yeah.
We do fish them out.
We do fish them out. But you know what I mean? So
and now I got my eyes open. I mean, because I'm looking at the ocean,
Yeah.
So I see it as, a renewable resource.
Rub it in again.
Yeah.
Tell us.
No, but I can appreciate that. I mean, from a management standpoint, yeah, absolutely. Now it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, I think what we've just done is we ended one episode and we've segued into the next time we get Ted back on the show, because we haven't talked about fishing and we need to talk to this guy about some fishing too.
That's true. That's true. I like it.
So Ted,
Yeah, no, I'm open for anything. You bet.
I like a wise man once told me, all good things must come to an end.
That's
Understood.
True. Unfortunately, that's true.
Did Sean tell you that?
Ted, before we let you go, how can folks learn more about you and keep up to date with what you guys got going on?
You know what? I'm on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at Ted Fowler 361, and we've also got deal for our company, Element Outdoors, on Twitter and Instagram as well.
Perfect.
And then you can find me on Facebook. I got Ted Fowler, and then once I turned that over to a business deal to promote Element, it came up with my own page, which is kind of silly because it is what it is. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Shoot me up the flare, and like I said, I'm just regular cat. I'll respond.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Well, hey, don't forget, this episode is brought to you in part by Smokin' the Grove Barbecue Festival.
Smoking the Grove.
That's being held July 26th and 27th in Spring Grove, Pennsylvania. For more information, head over to smokingthegrove.com.
Smokingthegrove.com.
Love me them burn ends. And it's also brought to you in part by Moses Family Jerky.
Get out of town.
Oh, yeah. Get 15% off your next order by heading over to mfjerky.com. Make sure you use that promo code JerkyPursuits15.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, what's up there, white sausage? Gravy. What's up, white sausage gravy?
Where can our fans find us, bud?
Well, they can check us out at RuttenRiverPursuits.com. The podcast itself available for download on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and don't forget the iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Check us out on all the social media properties. You got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search for Rutten River Pursuits. And, of course, check out the YouTube channel, Rutten River Pursuits Podcast.
Yeah, check out them YouTubes.
Check out them YouTubes.
You know what else I would check out?
What, bud?
R2 Buck, the man with the most nicknames ever in a history.
He got two new ones tonight.
I pick them up two at a time.
We're going to have 15, 20 different T-shirts available by the fall for all of his nicknames.
Absolutely.
Loving it.
Awesome.
I'm flattered, guys. Thank you.
Great show, boys. Good
Turkey
times.
Mayhem.
Boom.
See ya.
Peace.
I would like to take a moment to talk a little bit about the destruction that you guys are putting on the outdoor industry right now. Like a hurricane coming through. Tell us about Element Outdoors.
I got to
Transition.
I got to just pause and say, by Merlin's beard, that was smooth, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Ted, but that was one of the best transition pivots, piggybacks, if you will.
No, dude, I tip my hat to you. That was gold. That was audio gold.
It was like
Thanks.
a podcast crown jewel.
Well, I'm done here. All right. Come on.
Down here in South Texas, if it doesn't cut you, poke you, tear you, you're not in the right part of South Texas, and it's durable as
That's
all
just walking in Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Guy had a hunt coming up, and he ordered some material from us, said there was a problem, left his phone number. Hell, I called the guy up.
Was that Sean Kennedy? He always does that.
Oh, man.
No, this was a guy. This was a guy
I love me some biscuits and gravy.
Well, I'll tell you what, white sausage gravy. Yes, sir.
That's what I'm talking about.
That was Bucky's
Yeah.
nickname in college.
It was white sausage gravy. That was my blues name when I played blues guitar. White sausage gravy.
Wrote a song about it. Like to hear it. Here you go.
Would you like to hear it? There you go. That was good, wasn't it?